Hey, all, Christmas tree cleaning windows of the file coast once again. So Monday afternoon, got done for the day, and yeah, it's just been a bit of a hectic sort of past, couple of days. So Saturday we did the school. Sunday I slept and didn't do much else, to be honest with you. Today we've got done a fair few number of jobs in advance for tomorrow, because tomorrow I've got to go down to Exeter yet again. Yeah, that's like my third 600-mile round trip of in the last sort of freaking 4 weeks. Anyway, so I am hoping that I will never, in the best and nicest sense possible, not have to drive to Veritek in a very long time, I'm hoping. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to drop a video today, talk about imposter syndrome. Now, I know that I have covered imposter syndrome as a video in the past, but I was asked a question via Facebook Messenger from Michelle. It talks about sort of the imposter syndrome and how, what's the best way to sort of overcome that, and how did I overcome it. So imposter syndrome, what is it? It is, in my opinion, it is the sort of fear that someone at some point is going to come tap you on the shoulder and call you out, as call your lack of knowledge into question with you being self-employed. A lot of business owners coming up against this will sort of have this fear, and it's almost an irrational fear that someone is going to call you out because you don't know what you're doing, etc., etc., and all this sort of stuff, because you're nervous. This is a new environment. Imposter syndrome doesn't really, it happens to people that start businesses, because we've all had it. I think at least most of us have. Where you've gone from, a job, an employee, and you are, how can I put it? When you go to a job, everything is laid out for you, okay? So there's someone who takes care of training. There's someone that takes care of, I don't know, health and safety. There's someone that takes care of sort of the management of the sheets, management of your worksheets and all this sort of stuff. There is people that control teams, your team leaders, your foremen, etc., and all that sort of stuff. And they're the ones that ultimately sort of run your existence within that firm. And then when you step out of that, it's almost having to relearn a new working structure, and sort of do it all yourself. And it will happen over time, but people sometimes have what's called imposter syndrome, where they fear that they're going to be called out on for a lack of knowledge or whatever, and all this sort of stuff. Now, Michelle's question was obviously how did you overcome it? What's the best way, in your opinion, to overcome it? The sad truth of it is, at least in my experience, because I'm no expert, I promise you I'm not, but in terms of how I overcame imposter syndrome, I simply got sick and tired of being treated like a doormat, or being walked on, or taken advantage of. Because here's the reality: if you do have imposter syndrome, there's a very strong likelihood at some point the customer will take advantage of it, because they'll just be like, "Oh, I can push him over." You know what I mean? He'll do as he's told. I can, I can screw the nut on this one. You know what I mean? I can drive the price down, or I could add extras on without, actually paying more, and all this sort of stuff. The sort of customers that go, "Oh, could you just do this bit," and all this sort of stuff. And you're there going, "Yeah, go on then," and all this sort of stuff. And it's, you know what I mean? Because you just want an easy life. You just want the customer to go away and let you get on with the work. And then when you get done, you knock on the door and you're almost waiting for the customer, and you're praying that customer doesn't ask you for anything else, or call you out, and just pays you and lets you go. You know what I mean? And I did a house a number of years ago, and I remember vividly that snapping motion where I just snapped, and I not snapped in the sense that went chicken oriental on the customer, went into a screaming match and all this sort of stuff, because I don't do that. There's no sense in it. But I was absolutely threaded and cheesed off. You know, I was, you know, not a happy camper. I was doing this house for £7.50 for all round, four sides of a house for £7.50. And you know, we've all done it. You know, we've all sort of undercharged, etc. And there'll be some people on this video going, "Oh no, well, you see, I've charged £15 for a house from day one." Oh, well, good for you, mate. You know. But anyway, so I did four sides on this house for £7.50, and it would take me about sort of anywhere from, you know, 15 to 20 minutes to do this house. And I wanted to put the price up so badly, and I ate that price. I ate it for about 2 years, easily 2 years. I ate that price, and I wanted to put the price up. I spoke to the husband, the fella that lived there, and so I'm gonna have to put the price up from £7.50. And I was quite nervous talking to him, so I was more bothered about his response. And the guy turned around and he was like, "This is £7.50. Most people earn £7.50 in an hour. You don't think you're a bit cheeky trying to put the price up, for, you know, to go higher than that? You know, it's only window cleaning." Now, the Chris Addis that sits before you today, if someone had spoken to me like that and said, "It's only window cleaning, I think you're cheeky charging more than X," sort of thing, my response would be quite simple. I would just say, "Right, it's not a problem. If you change your mind, you know where we are. Have a nice day," and walk away. It's as simple as that. But the Chris Addis that, you know, was back then sort of went, well, okay then, sort of thing, and blah blah. And I backed down. Really uncharacteristic of me to back down. Really uncharacteristic. But I was almost like, I have no counter to that. I don't, you know, I don't know what was wrong with me, to be fair. You know, now I can't reconcile who I am today versus who I was back then. And it's not been, you know, it's not been like a decade or anything like that. You're talking maybe 3.5 years ago, something like that. But yeah, you do sort of do these stupid things, don't you? You know. But anyway, so I cracked on. I went back, and I was an idiot, and I went back and did it again. And the thing is now, by that point, I went back, and having gone back, I've almost sent a message to that jerk that I was prepared to be treated like crap. I was prepared to be a doormat because I haven't sort of I haven't stood up for myself. And I don't mean, you know, planting a 5-knuckle sandwich on his, you know, on his chin, what have you. But standing up for yourself in the sense that you sort of say, well, actually, no, I'm sorry that, you know, I've incurred costs. You know, the prices had to go up. I've got more. I pay more for fuel. I pay more for wages, etc., etc., etc. I can't continue to offer the service that I do to the same standard at this price. Now that's what I would say now. So I did the windows. That time I went back, and then basically what's happened is I knocked on the door. The guys come to the door again, and I'm just almost cringing. I'm almost like, right, just get it over with. Give me the money so I can bugger off. And the guy came to the door, and he was like, yeah, and he was almost like, I still can't believe you asked for a pay rise. And carried on talking. And by that point, I didn't really take on much more what he said. Just because I was so angry. I didn't really take on what he was saying. He was just like, you know, sort of waffling away. And then this little sort of, you know, it just snapped in me. And I just turned around to him and said, right, I'll tell you what. You know, because I didn't shout, didn't scream or anything like that. Because I'm not like that. I just had the £7.50 in my hand. And I said to him, says, right, I'll tell you what. There's your £7.50. Find yourself another window cleaner. You know, I won't be spoken to like that by anybody. Have a nice day. And I just walked off. And then I had a really, really long think about it. I went home and I was really annoyed, and I told Nicole, my wife, I told her what had happened and all this sort of stuff. And, you know, I was almost sort of asking if I was out of line by doing this sort of thing, and you know, you get to that point where you just think to yourself, no, you know, this far and no further. And from that day to this, I've always sort of maintained that I will know my worth. I will sort of stand up for myself. I will provide value, and I will ignore people that want a free ride. And yeah, and that's that. So, in all honesty, for me, it was a sort of a this far and no further kind of moment, where I just went, no, I'm not taking this anymore. And I think most people experience the same thing. I'd be interested to hear what you guys have got to, what your thoughts on it are. You know, how did you get to the position where, you know, your sort of imposter syndrome sort of subsided, etc.? Did did it get better? Did it get worse? You know, are you still stuck in that sort of position? And to marry this up with another guy that I've had a conversation with quite recently. I had a coffee with him, called Steve, and Steve's he's only just started up window cleaning. He's 52, cracking bloke, lovely bloke, ex-truck driver. I hope you're well, mate. Yeah, his biggest drawback is that he struggles to communicate with the customer and doesn't like engaging with people he doesn't know. And I have a lot of sympathy for that, because if you're in a truck for, you know, I don't know, 11, 12 hours plus a day, you don't really interact with anybody. You know, you spend long periods of time away from home. You don't really interact with anybody, and the people you do interact with are either family or friends. There's not really an opportunity to sort of talk to strangers, really, to interact with people you wouldn't otherwise normally meet. Steve has managed to sort of cobble together some, you know, a lot of money, you know, some money together to buy himself the equipment, buy himself the van, etc. And, you know, he has all the right equipment. Some of the equipment, I'll be honest with you, is better than what I've got. You know, I mean, I've got a banged up little gutter vac in the back of my van, what have you. You know, this guy's got, you know, the best guy vac going. You know, a 700 litre tank in the back of his van, a new van, and all this sort of stuff. But by his own admission, he's sort of struggling to find customers. And I think, in the nicest way possible, I think, you know, that there's a part of him that sort of is uneasy about talking to customers, and it's completely, you know, understandable for someone that's become self-employed in a new, you know, in a new sort of sector. If you know, he's gone from being a truck driver to being a window cleaner, it's all a bit new and all a bit unfamiliar. But yeah, quite, you know, sadly, I think it's just a case of having to go through that, or at the very least, sort of have an understanding that it is there and it exists, and try your very best to sort of work around it. You know, I tend to find that by sort of setting the boundaries early on, the customer, by and large, accepts you for who you are. And if they don't accept me for who I am, then that's fine. Then we won't do business. But quite, you know, you've just got to have a set of cojones on you. You know what I mean? You've got to have a bit of self-worth about you to sort of be able to sort of stand up for yourself. Because if the customer can see that you are a pushover, there are a select number of people out there that will just take the mick with it and just, you know, run ramshot over you, take advantage, you know, drive the price down, drive the amount of work that you have to do up at the same time, you know, or can you just, you know. So yeah, it's a tough one. Anyway, I'm going to leave the video here. I'm going to drive down to Exeter again tomorrow, and yeah, wish me luck. And I will do a video about this van refit if it kills me, which it probably will. Have a great one, peeps. Keep on keeping on, and don't let people push you around. Tell them Chris said. There you go. Have a good one. See you in a bit. Bye, guys.